Greetings, this is Professor Griff of GrifftheNME. Welcome to the Oculus Inc. The Oculus, they are the ultra secret society. They are the ones that manipulate and control your perception. They're actually the gatekeepers of your perception. The Oculus are the ones that actually write the prescription. They are the ones to determine who and why you're seeing what you're actually seeing through signs and symbols. These signs and symbols, we see them every single day. Your banks, your fast food stores, energy companies, gas stations, car companies, sports teams, all of them have signs and symbols that they use in such a way where they speak a language to one another. These are the things that the Oculus controls. The Oculus Inc. With Kim Jong-un. And so eventually I want to get around to the basketball player. What's his name? The dude started crying. Dennis Rodman. Did y'all see that? Embarrassing. But anyway, so Denise, Renee, Joe Clark. All right, you ready? All right. Peace. This is Professor Griff, of course, for Sirius Mindz. All right. Along with this line imagery kind of production, we're putting this down. Peace, Kia. I want to greet everyone with a civilized greeting in a very uncivilized time. Of course, we say peace, shalom, hotep, whatever greeting you go by. All right. So we're trying out something new tonight, and we're just gonna go with the flow. It's a everyday conversation. It's about entertainment, politics, religion, sex, war, whatever it is that we want to talk about. All right. But the way we're doing it, we're actually getting the questions live from people off of Facebook, and we're talking directly to you. So whatever question that you have about the particular subject, we're going to kind of dive in and we're going to dialogue. The subject that we're dealing with tonight is called Donald Trump and his meeting with Kim Jong-un, and it's definitely dealing with the politics of the Grand Chess match. All right, so wrap your brain around that. Go Google some stuff or whatever you can remember from the last few days, from the time that they've met. I believe that meeting took place on the 12th. What's today's date? 14th? Today's 14th, so a couple of days ago, they actually met. So this is a real live conversation we're having. All right, so let's not get topics confused. Let's focus in on this particular topic. Do you have a podcast? If not, you should start one. That's what this is, Alicia. We're just not doing it in the traditional way the podcasts are done. Because we're not them other people. All right. In a minute, we might set up another camera and back and be facing this way and put a studio audience right here, which would make it really interesting. 3 or 4 people that want to no, Alicia, you don't have to apologize. This is new to all of us, so we just rolling with the punches. That's all. We good. So, all right, so I'm driving along and the conversation is happening, and I scroll over to NPR or CNN Live or wherever it was taking place. I think someone sent me a message. I click on to listen, and I'm sure y'all have done this before. You're hearing something and you grab a pen while you're driving. You really can't focus. So you're just scribbling notes with your right hand while you're trying to pay attention to some cat whizzing by you on his motorcycle on I-20 doing about 200. Yeah. If you're that guy and you're watching, I didn't snitch on you or nothing. I'm just saying. Anyway, so I wrote some notes that's in hieroglyphics. I can barely understand them, but let me give you what I got. All right. He said, I truly don't see a grand chess game, truthfully. From my vantage point, this is an example of, I'm interested, hold on. This is an example of the continued trend of simply globalization and the one world government building. L, I can't pronounce your middle name or your first name, or I'll just call you L. James. L. James, what you said is absolutely correct, but the globalization is based on the grand chessboard that Zbigniew laid out in his book. And if you go back and you study Zbigniew, who was the national security advisor for Jimmy Carter. You'll talk, when they start talking about globalization and the Global Report 2000, it goes into the grand chess game, and it goes into how nations, all right, are in cahoots with one another to box out other nations to operate and control and manipulate a certain region on the planet. And that's what we're talking about today. So to a degree, you're absolutely correct. Listen, L. James, we're going to get out of the habit of starchily coming on and absolutely disagreeing before I even lay the subject matter out. But you said from your vantage point, and I understand. Now, I don't know your vantage point. All right. Maybe our vantage points can come together, and maybe there's a gray area right there that we can take both of our paintbrushes, our political paintbrushes, and paint, so we can come up with where we can meet halfway. Is that cool, Mr. L. James? I got you. Okay. You should get a software suite called OBS Studio for a pro look. Hold on, I'm interested. Hold on. For a pro look, you can hook up multiple cameras and invite other cams on. Well, Jason Brown, it's my fault. I was supposed to bring the camera to do that. I wish I could turn this around so you could see his face. I was supposed to bring my camera to do that, and I kind of messed that up. So the next one will actually do just that. So my man Solo is definitely on it, and you're on it, Mr. Jason Brown. All right, cool. All right, y'all are killing me. Y'all are already on it, man. Let me start first, and then I'm gonna entertain that. All right, cool. So I'm driving along, and I'm hearing the different kind of people that was at the actual summit, I believe, in Singapore. Representatives from Singapore, representatives from South Korea, representatives from Japan, and representatives from China. Now, I'm not. Hold on. I've read Zbigniew Brzezinski. I completed my last thought by simply saying nothing terribly, hold on, surprising, but perhaps we can, yeah, let's dive into it further. Yes, that's why I'm doing this. And you're doing exactly what I would expect people to do, is give me some thought-provoking dialogue. All right? All right, so now let's just get some basic things out of the way. I don't even need my glasses. I'm not going to read this part. The basic thing we need to get out of the way. Now, I'm not sure how old anyone in this room is. We're talking about a man who took over a country, all right, after several relatives did not pass the quote-unquote test and did not meet the criteria to take over North Korea, all right? From the documentary films that are out, one was kind of soft. Y'all can call it what y'all want to call it. This sensitive, homosexual, gay, sensitive kind of audience that might be watching this. Y'all call it what y'all. I don't know the terminology. I didn't get it. The homosexual gay handbook in the mail. So I don't know what to call it. Y'all call it what y'all want to call it. The other one got caught in certain countries committing certain crimes. They didn't give the whole list. I don't care about that. He didn't make the cut. Kim Jong-un took over. Now listen to what I'm saying, and this is really important, and this might change your whole thinking about how this man is actually running his country. He was 26 years old when he took over. Now, what was you doing at 26? Let's think about that. 26 years old. Now, this was several years ago, so he should be 30, 33, 34 right now. What were we doing at 26 in this day and age of social media? So sometimes when they give reports about him taking selfies and having fun and playing video games and all this stuff, you say, that's what my daughter does at 20-something years old. She ain't thinking about running no country. You understand what I'm saying? So he has this OJT going on the job training happening as we speak. Okay, so now that we know that, okay, so when you talk about the history of how North Korea and South Korea even got in the position that they're in, you could go on any YouTube channel and watch the History Channel or documentary films, and you can go over old footage and old documentary films on what took place on the Korean Peninsula when they waged war. Now listen, this was not the war of Koreans. So when you start hearing North Korea, South Korea, the first question that comes to my mind is, how did they divide up the country? And what was the major event that divided up the country? Because if you look at them, I can't tell a South Korean from a North Korean. You follow what I'm saying? That's like saying South Dakota, North Dakota, North Carolina and South Carolina. You follow what I'm saying? So in doing the history and doing the research, also, okay, here we go, Mr. L. James. The war that took place was called the Korean War, but it wasn't about Koreans. It was about ideology. So who were the grand players? Russia. Like Russia moved into Afghanistan to take control of the poppy fields and take control of a pipeline that they was running from Afghanistan, Tajikistan, Uzbekistan, and there's one more, excuse me, but I'll get that right in a minute. They wanted to run a pipeline through Afghanistan to the Indian Ocean. Russia came in on an international scale and tried to disrupt, because Britain, America, and other countries involved with running the pipeline. All right. What Arabia decided to do was get in the fray, and rebels that was working against Arabia, Russia, America, and Britain stepped in. So what America did is manufacture a terrorist organization. All right. What was the organization that they said Osama bin Laden was in charge of? It'll come. Al-Qaeda. Damn, I'm slipping. Al-Qaeda was a computer program. Go look it up. Al-Qaeda was an actual computer program that the CIA was using to communicate, and all they did was take that and use that for the name of Osama bin Laden's organization, because he had none. Now, the beautiful thing about what happened in that particular region at that particular time, I'm getting to the Korean War, just bear with me. We're talking about the Grand Chess match. What happened at that particular time, rebels in and outside of Osama bin Laden's influence created this thing called the Mujahideen. Those were the rebels that you see in Afghanistan fighting and whipping Russia's behind, and ran Russia's behind. Thank you, L. James, you're on point, bro. And ran Russia's behind right on back up into Russia. Russia left so quick, they left tanks, guns, bombs, ammunitions. So the Mujahideen took that and used that to fight America. America presently has 32,000 troops still in Afghanistan. What did America do while they were there? Kill Osama bin Laden up in the mountains of Tora Bora. America took control of the poppy fields. This is why the influx of cocaine and heroin and all that kind of stuff in America is on the rise. America tried to destabilize the government by using this propaganda machine called the media, MEDIA, multi-ethnic destructions in America, or maniac European devils in action, whichever one you want to use, and made it seem like the Sharia law in Afghanistan was so bad. All right. Women that was coming out in burqas, they said if they showed a fingernail or cracked a smile, they would kill them and beat them in the streets. Stop that. All right. What they wanted to do is take over Afghanistan and build strip malls and major streets, like main streets, and set up McDonald's and Murder King and Drunken Donuts and Toxic Hell and Pizza Slut. You understand what I'm saying? But the people in that region wasn't going for it, and they was basically keeping their country a Muslim country under Sharia law. Pakistan wasn't going for it. Pakistan got in the fray and started bringing in weapons through the mountains. That's a long story. Back to the Korean War. I was giving you an example how Russia came into Afghanistan and it brought nations together to fight against Russia. Russia fighting against Mujahideen. Osama bin Laden was financed by the United States. All right. He broke away from Arab influence in Mecca. All right. So now you have a region that's volatile in Afghanistan, and everybody fighting everybody. Yeah. Same thing happened in Korea. Korea is one peninsula. It was never north and south. Russia came in with its influence, and then America wasn't going for it because they wanted to control that particular region in that part of the world. So when Russia moved in, America, Britain, I could do that too. America, Britain, and France decided to get together to do this, what do they call it? Not multi-jurisdictional task force, they call it something else. These global alliances that get together, these countries that get together. So what they wanted to do, the war was supposed to take place on the Korean Peninsula, but the war was between America, communism, and capitalism. Brief history. I ain't got time to go over history. Let me just say this. American capitalists created communism. I'm gonna let y'all marinate on that. Now, I didn't go to school for political science. I went to school at Nassau Community College for about 2 weeks. You're right, Dale Dixon, and China. I forgot China. But, so when you talk about these nations getting together to fight the war on the Korean Peninsula, the war was with capitalism and communism, and they were trying to figure out who was going to rule in that region. So this is why when Kim Jong-un and Donald Trump got together, they had to bring together Korea, South Korea, Japan, China, and they had to meet in a place that was neutral territory, and that was Singapore. All right, so I hope y'all are grasping this. All right, okay. So now, Donald Trump talked about, thank you, sister, I really appreciate that. Donald Trump talked about creating a new history and a new chapter in Korea. So now we're talking about a war that happened 70 years ago on the Korean Peninsula. All right, he said yesterday's conflict does not have to dictate and weigh upon and agitate people to cause a future war. And I would have to agree with 45. I would have to agree with that. Adversaries can finally find and become friends, which is cool. We do it every single day. People that we at odds with, we come together with them because we grow up and we kind of see our differences and we kind of go from that vantage point. All right, so Donald Trump said honoring the sacrifice of our forefathers. That we need to talk about, because often in my lecture I put up a picture of the picture that they snapped in Marion, Indiana, of the lynching of 2 black men hanging on trees, and in the audience you'll see all white people pointing and looking and smiling and grinning. And when I asked the audience where was this taken, black people, no one knows. I'm asking why were they smiling and grinning in the audience, and I'm like, who are these people that was at that lynching, that cut off our nose and ears and breasts and penises to take them home in jars to save them for souvenirs? You understand what I'm saying? So I asked that question simply because when you start talking about honoring your ancestors and your forefathers who were at that lynching, we have to honor ours also. So who are your ancestors is the question we need to ask. All right, so they signed a joint agreement. Some of the things Donald Trump said they kind of left out, because after the agreement was signed, they came to the conclusion that they need to add a few more amendments to the document. Someone I know that knows someone else that knows someone else in politics, I tried to get that document, that I copied that actual document so I could present it here. All right. So peace is always worth the effort, pardon me. He says peace is always worth the effort. And, you know, I can understand it. We hope the light of peace can chase away the darkness of war. I want y'all to marinate on that. When has there ever been a time in America where these people were not at war? Ever since they've been on the planet, they've been at war. Wait a minute. Let me clarify that. They've been at war with the wind, plants, mosquitoes, animals. Let's save the killer whale. Certain animals and things are extinct now because of them hunting, going to Africa, killing giraffes, and bringing. You just go to some of these hunters' homes, you'll see lion heads, and that's not us doing that. You understand what I'm saying? So when you start talking about, we hope the light of peace can chase away the darkness of war. This man and woman that's been on this planet have been at war on every continent known to us. Everywhere they've went, they've been at war. All right. Let me see. I'm reading my hieroglyphics from my notes. All right. So he says he want to reunite the national family on the Korean Peninsula. All right. The national family being those members of North Korea, those citizens, pardon me, of North Korea, and those citizens of South Korea will ultimately come together. We dream of a day where all Koreans can live in harmony. You have 25,000 soldiers on in South Korea. 25,000. Wait a minute. Let me roll your minds back one more time in history to 25,000 advisors that they sent to Vietnam. Wait a minute. They're in advisory capacity. If I'm going to send an advisor to your house, I'll send 2 people. One to drive because the other one don't know where he's going, and one person to speak, right or wrong. 25,000 advisors? No. They actually went to war with the people at Vietnam. And Vietnam was smart and dug underground tunnels to defeat America. So they would stay hidden during the day and come on up out at night and put it on America. All right? You can hear and go on YouTube and listen to some of the black men that fought in the Vietnam War and came in. Some of them said they didn't want to kill the brown man or the yellow man. Some of them wouldn't even shoot the Vietnamese. They would shoot over their head. He said because the Viet Cong looked like some of us. You understand what I'm saying? What were they over there for anyway? What was the cause of the Vietnam War? We have to understand this particular dynamic and start putting the pieces in place. Act locally and think globally. You understand what I'm saying? Let's get back to this. So they start talking about how can Donald Trump forgive Kim Jong-un for the human rights violations. First of all, the human rights violations that they're talking about is murdering a couple of members of the people that were in power before him that was under his dad, which was trying to undermine his father. Now, if I'm about to take power and I'm 26 years old, still playing goddamn video games and eating Snickers and watching cartoons, I'm only joking about that, but I'm saying, I'm saying, if you saw these people undermining your dad and you come to power, that is the first thing you do is get rid of those people that you know that's going to oppose you and possibly cause a coup in North Korea. All right. The only thing I can honestly say I would disagree with, there's a different way you can handle people, but you know, America is the best ones that we should take notes from. Why is that? Because even when people try to take over certain turfs, I'm talking about the mafia, not the real gangsters, not the fake gangsters in hip hop. I'm talking about the real gangsters. When they go to take over a turf, a whole lot of people die. You understand what I'm saying? So America's good at that. Now, how many places America's been in? Oh, I'm sorry, America. The Native Americans were here and they came over. You understand what I'm saying? Bullied the Native Americans and black people were here. All right. Not necessarily from Africa, but from all over the globe. All right. One time we didn't call it Africa. It was Pangea and some other names we called it. Do you understand what I'm saying? So if he was to come to power, of course he has to Mindz Institute presents The History of Hip Hop, told through a revolutionary lens from Public Enemy's Rock and Roll Hall of Fame artist Professor Griff and Terminator X. This is a musical lecture where the DJ and the MC raise their vibrational pitch of your thinking as we party with a purpose, with commentary from specially invited guests Shubra, Minister Surf, Jazz, Nad, Jason Orr, and performances by Soleil. Saturday, June 23rd, 4 p.m. at Soul Village, right next door to Moods Music in Little 5 Points, 29 Euclid Avenue, Northeast Atlanta, Georgia, 30307. For advance tickets, Call Professor Griff at 678-557-2919 or pay in advance at paypal.me/Professor Griff Corporation. That is $25 in advance and more at the door. For tickets information, call Professor Griff at 678-557-2919. History of Hip Hop as told by Professor Griff and Terminator X. Performance by Soleil. I'll see you there. Chess. All right, and put people around him that he can trust. Wait a minute. Who was the young lady that's the mayor of Atlanta? Keisha Lance Bottoms. What was the first thing she did when she got to office? She started getting rid of people. Because you need people that would advise you, people around you that you could trust. See, when we understand politics, and politics is the science of governing people, everyone does this that comes to power. Whether it's local power and local government here or global power. Okay, so that's not foreign. So when you see, you got to listen to these bobbleheads, man, on the news. You follow what I'm saying? So we have to understand the language of racism, white supremacy, and how they use the language to catch us in this proverbial trick bag. All right, human rights issues. Can we name some human rights issues that's right here in America right now? As long as you don't break the code and violate the oath and step over the thin blue line, white police officers will continue to kill black people in the streets. Human rights violation. That's a human rights violation. Right now, the CDC have announced they have a gonorrhea that's out affecting people now. This is the CDC. They have no cure for. They have diseases that they don't have names for. They have numbers for them. Forced sterilization and vaccinations in the schools. So we could talk about human rights violations all day long if we want to turn this into that. All right. So before you start talking about the human rights violations of someone from another country who never violated you or Americans, right? We need to start talking about the human rights violations that are right here. Give me 1 second and I'm going to go to the brothers and sisters here on Facebook Live so I can take y'all's questions. But let me just finish laying this out. Okay? He built a nuclear arsenal based on what the technology that Russia and other people have given them. All right? Please know and understand, but because of the Pearl Harbor attack, all right, the Japanese people are not allowed, according to international law, they're not allowed to have a military. I'm going to say that again. See, because when you start looking at all the people that was at the meeting, then what is their position? What's China's position? Did y'all know that China owns streets and bridges and ports in America? Did y'all know that America's for sale? This is why you see you can park on American streets, but you have to put in the code in order to park. They don't want you putting coins in machines anymore. All right? They want you to put in the code because that money they have to pay to whoever owned that street. And some of these streets in America, America doesn't own. Some of the ports, America doesn't own. That's the fight with Trump trying to build the wall. America doesn't own aspects of that region in America. China and other places own it. Other companies own it. Countries own it. America's been for sale. Okay. So, the DPRK, we'll talk about that in a second. He built his nuclear arsenal because after now wait a minute, I forgot something. 24 different nations and governments participated in the war in Korea. Now, I don't know what they taught y'all in high school about the Korean War. Probably nothing. Because I went through the same education y'all went through. Absolutely nothing. I left it high school thinking the Korean War, oh, Korea must have tried to invade America or did something to America for America to go to war in Korea. And I never really understood it until I started studying on my own. All right? But they was jockeying for position on the Korean peninsula to jockey for position simply because they wanted to neutralize Japan and neutralize China. All right, now, Kim Jong-un, like Muammar Gaddafi in Libya, put 1 million men in their army. 1 million men. Can you imagine you have an army of 1 million men? Tanks, guns, rocket launchers, surface-to-air missiles, all kind of weapons and nuclear bombs. So America had to set up posts in South Korea and start these war games. All right, so we'll talk about that in a minute. I could name some movies that some of these war games were in. And anyway, you remember the white Jewish production team that got together and did the film 2 years ago about North Korea. See, but no one else could do that. They tried that mess with disrespecting Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, and Muslims start killing people. You understand what I'm saying? But anyway, we'll talk about that in a second. So he built up his nuclear arsenal simply because that was his insurance policy. In D.C. at the Power Talk. All right. I'll be in D.C. at the Power Talk. All right. All right, so let's finish this. All right. So we have a basic understanding of what went down in the region, how North Korea separated from South Korea. One was following America in their pursuit of capitalism. One was following communism, the Socialist Party, and that kind of thing. We all know that capitalism created communism. So this is why we're talking about the Grand Chess match. All right, so let's wrap this up. So what was Dennis Rodman's role, and what was his purpose for even going on scene and to cry crocodile tears for who? How would, and who is he representing, and how would he even benefit? So if we got some questions here on, are you still coming to Chicago? Yes, on July 15th, I will be in Chicago. I'll be in Chicago that whole weekend, 13th, 14th, and 15th at the Freedom Home Academy. Myself, Misan, and Soleil will be speaking at Freedom Home Academy. All right, July 15th in the Chi. All right, any questions off of Facebook? Any questions at all? All right. But in the meantime, while y'all develop your questions for the last few minutes we have to understand that the President of the United States of America is more symbolic than anything. All right. The president doesn't run anything but his mouth. All right. When we start talking about these global politics and this global positioning, yeah, there's some other people that y'all already know that run this thing. All right. I'm trying to understand Dennis Rodman's role and who is he actually working for. So can somebody clear that up for me? Because to see where can I meet you? I don't think you can, bro. I got a security detail around me that's probably going to prevent that. But you can come to the Power Talk and we can talk. I don't even, bro, come to the Power Talk, damn, we can talk. All right, any more questions? We're talking about the Grand Chess match, the meeting between Donald Trump and Kim Jong-un. All right. Dale Dixon, you own one tonight. He says Donald Trump is a liar. Okay, name a president that didn't lie. He's probably the best at it, but I'm just saying. Anyway, this is designed so we could have a dialogue, so that we could be able to filter out everyday news, and for us to make it simple and plain so our people can readily understand. Because a lot of times we watch CNN, and sometimes when I used to watch it, I'm like, I don't understand what's going on. But when you start to study and you start to read some of the material that some of these people at Oxford and Yale and, you know, some of these places read, then you say, oh, okay, I get it now. And when you start to stand on the shoulders of the ancestors, when you start to call on the spirit of the ancestors, this stuff actually comes to you. Like I said, I'm not the best knower in the room, but Barack Obama told the truth. Dale, you know you need to stop. Did he tell you the truth about why they call him the drone warrior? All right. Barack Obama has killed more people with drones than the law allows. So that conversation we don't want to have right now, Dale. I said at the beginning of this, we were going to stick to the subject. All right. Okay. So let's kind of sum this up. So we know and understand that America is in a strategic position right now, along with Japan, China, of course, now Singapore, and everyone, North and South Korea. That's in that particular region. All right. So we have to begin to understand America's position. Now, I don't want some half-baked Negroes to start talking about our country and our this and our that. You don't run nothing in America but your mouth, plain and simple. All right, 25,000 troops are still there, I believe. Nope, pardon me, 32,000 troops are there in South Korea doing war exercise and war games. All right, so we have to understand from our perspective what the meeting between Donald Trump and Kim Jong-un actually means to us and how would it affect us. How is it going to affect India, who's right next door? How is it going to affect Pakistan? I'm talking about countries that have nuclear capability. How is it going to affect the relationship with Israel to other countries, knowing that there are other people? And now listen, Kim Jong-un decided, I think I put it in my notes as I was driving the other day, complete disarmament of his nuclear arsenal. That's almost like saying you surrounded by bullies. Everybody got guns and you decided, okay, well, I'm gonna just give up mine. Do you remember a couple of months ago, CNN and the rest of the alphabet boys were saying this is a good move for Kim Jong-un because it'll make his country very wealthy. Well, what do they plan on doing in North Korea? Setting up a McDonald's? Dave and Buster's? You understand what I'm saying? I mean, what do they plan to put in casinos? So we have to, listen, Dale Dixon, seriously, bro. You said Donald Trump is not for us. I don't think, what's the other president, the black guy? I don't think Obama was for us either. If you really stop for a minute, stop going on emotions, Dale, and start doing some serious research, you'll see the level of hypocrisy. But we're not talking about that now. Rodman and Kim Jong-un is friends, and America rode that positive vibration. Okay, Keith Lee. So basically, they sent the Negro in to kind of, I got you. We got to talk about that in another time. All right. We got to end this in about 2 minutes. So I'm going to be coming on here every week so we could talk about what's going on in the news and so I can get y'all's feedback. All right. It's going to be a different subject every week. Once again, this is brought to you by Sirius Mindz and Lion Imagery. All right, so if y'all want to tune in further, go to my Sirius Mindz YouTube channel, subscribe, hit the like button, all right, and stay tuned to the vast majority of things that we're going to be doing in studio and out on the streets, not only in Atlanta, but New York, D.C., and other places, all right? Once again, this is Professor Griff for Sirius Mindz. If y'all need to reach me, y'all can hit me at 678-557-2919. Y'all know I started over at World Star every Wednesday night at 9 o'clock. So if y'all want to tune in to www.worldstarhitradio.com every Wednesday night at 9 o'clock. All right. If y'all have some subjects that y'all want me to talk about, past subjects, all right, just hit me up at seriousmindsinfo@gmail.com. And once again, my phone number is 678-557-2919. Shout out to my queen, Soleil. I see Brother Mike is on here from Public Enemy. There's a few other people. Just y'all stay tuned and stay politically astute to what's going on across the country, because what happens on a global level affects us domestically. This is Professor Griff. I'm signing out, man. Peace. 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 This is Professor Griff. Join me every Wednesday night on www.worldstarhitradio for my show, Sirius Mindz. If you would like to advertise here on Sirius Mindz with Professor Griff, check the email address below, which is seriousminzinfo@gmail.com. That's SIRIUSMINDZ info@gmail.com. Or just call me, 678-557-2919. Once again, that's Sirius Mindz every Wednesday night at 9 o'clock. All right, on World Star Hit Radio, where we take Sirius Mindz seriously. Peace.